Now, something I'd like you to think about right now is how big of a concern is data quality to you? Here are some options. A big concern, it's a small concern, or I'm not worried about it. And if you're not worried about it either, you should be, or maybe you're ahead of the curve. We will have your answers coming up shortly. Now, whether you're future-proofing or just running your business in the moment, you have to be able to see all the relevant data clearly and get meaning out of it. That's at the heart of the digital transformation journey that Johnson & Johnson is on, along with SAP and mutual partner LTIMindtree. With operations in 60-plus countries worldwide and products sold in more than 175 countries, people everywhere know and trust the Johnson & Johnson brand, and it's likely that one or more of their products are somewhere in your home too. Their combination of consumer health, medtech, and pharmaceutical products goes far beyond the medicine cabinet. Building on a history of more than 135 years, Johnson & Johnson is now the world's largest and most broadly based healthcare company with more than 140,000 employees around the world. As you can imagine, all that activity generates huge amounts of data, and knowing that that data is accurate and putting it into a coherent picture can really test a company, especially when it comes to finance. Joining us now to explain how that is happening are Sean Keane of Johnson & Johnson, hi, and Surya Pode of LTIMindtree. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Yes, delighted.
Sean, to start with you, what were the business issues that led you on this particular journey?
Yeah, so Claire, it helps to understand if you think about how we've grown, right? We have about 250 subsidiaries worldwide. Many of those have their own separate ERPs, over 70 in fact. So as we realized that we had so much finance data in so many different places, we knew we had to pull it all together into a central finance system. It's part of our transformation.
Yeah, at the heart of it, what do you need that transformation to do for you?
Well, if we can consolidate all the data from those ERPs and harmonize a lot of the processes, then we can become a much more data-driven organization. If we get a better view to our finance operations, we can do better and faster consolidations and get deeper finance insights across the enterprise. So this means better decisions, Claire, for us and really faster.
Yeah.
And then we can accelerate productivity. We can put a lot of power in the hands of our users to make them smarter and become a smarter organization.
This seems like a really good time to bring in Surya. LTIMindtree has a 12-year relationship with Johnson & Johnson, so you already know a lot of the players there and the landscape. When a new initiative like this one comes along, how do you approach that?
I think you have to start with the basic flow of the data, understand it from source to target. The target in this case being the central finance system. Then mapping out the project, we felt we needed to first focus on a quick transition. This means understanding the business processes and the design. Also, the business rules for key postings and for the month-end activities. With J&J, given its size and scale and complexity, it took us about 10 to 12 weeks for a transition. LTIMindtree paired up with the J&J team to initially learn and then manage the activities independently.
Wow. So a quick transition, even on its own, can be really challenging. But Surya, it's really just the beginning for a project of this size, isn't it? What's coming next?
After that, you move to stabilization, where you have to start with understanding the patterns and the errors that always show up, be it posting related or data or technical errors that need to be addressed. Establishing a known error database accelerates the stabilization. Then you start optimizing, finding the root causes of some of the issues that end up in reconciliation. This could lead to incremental improvements in the design, training, or standard operating procedures. After that is scaling, taking the transformation out to multiple teams. At J&J, in the beginning, we had many different independent teams by application and by data. Once we reached a certain level of stabilization and optimization, we brought it all under a common managed services model to draw synergies from lessons learned. We now have a flexible model and a service catalog for global coverage that is adaptive for new releases.
Wow. Okay, so I have a question for both of you. The tech stack here includes a variety of SAP solutions powered by SAP S/4HANA Cloud. How does SAP enable all those steps of this transformation? Sean, maybe we can start with you and then move over to Surya.
Tech stack is really important. Through CFIN consolidation at the core of our strategy, we've been able to standardize our enterprise data design, enable more efficient finance processes from closing the books to planning and management reporting. And this allows us to set the foundations for future technology expansion in this space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from a service perspective, maintaining the integrity of this central finance system architecture is key. We must pay attention to all the data flows across the different components of this architecture. The central finance accounting interface is where the data is getting transformed. MDG is where the business mapping is done for master data, such as cost centers, profit centers, etc. And then there is the business rules framework, where the business rules are defined. Finance systems are the repository of system of records. They form the single source of the truth.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you're saying data is the foundation, but it's really important to make sure that all of that data is good data, and it's difficult to ensure that, right? So yeah, maybe you want to go first.
Absolutely. Data accuracy is key, and you have to make sure that the data is accurate from all perspectives. So what we did was, and therefore you also have to have checks and controls and monitoring mechanisms in place. So what we did was we established a very specific dashboard for, we called it as it's almost like a control tower for reconciliation purpose. And that's going to help with proactive actions and decision making as well.
Yeah.
We also built a few automations as well in the whole process.
Fabulous. I think now would be a good time to take a quick break and take a look at the results of that poll that we started back at the beginning of the segment. How big of a concern is data quality for you? We're looking at 95% saying it is a big concern, maybe not so surprising there. 2% saying it's a small concern, and I guess the lucky 3% saying they're not worried about it at all. It must be nice. That must be nice to be in that category, huh? Sean, let's come to you for the next question. I imagine that you couldn't just have data quality overnight as you moved live, right? What was that like?
Yes, so initially when we went live, it was a matter of getting to the base of the errors and diagnosing them as quickly as we can, and then putting in place processes and structures to make sure we didn't fall into those traps of recurring issues.
Yeah.
So it's really critical that we got that in place as quick as we could possibly do.
Yeah, and my second question to you, Sean, here is, it sounds as if you're beginning to get a sense of what this project is doing for you that it couldn't do before.
Yeah, so what was really interesting when we went live in pre-production, the replication rates were probably in the mid-60% at that stage. And we now know that figure is at 99.9%, which is really amazing. And we currently have over 1.5 million line items replicating daily across all of our ERPs in the farm sector. And that represents over half the business revenue of Johnson & Johnson. And SAP and our peers have told us that it was one of the industry's largest single CFIN go-lives. And we're very proud of what we have and our teams at LTIMindtree have achieved here.
Yeah, that's a fabulous outcome. And we spent a lot of time in the last 2 days talking about the future. So let's ask, where do you go from here together? Surya.
Absolutely. First of all, our mission is to make sure that in this partnership, we give J&J peace of mind. And with the team that we have put in place, the partnership will be extending into the future lines of business that will be transformed. We envision J&J achieving its finance future faster together with LTIMindtree.
Yeah, and Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, well, for us, beyond implementing our other lines of business across the MedTech Center, we will also be looking to scale the managed services support model with LTIMindtree and adding value-added services across the data and technology spaces. And you know, SAP and LTIMindtree will be helping us realize continuous improvement all the time, how we can make our processes even better, bring our new technologies in, automation, and so on. And so this isn't just a one and done, Claire. That's the value of a partnership like this one. They take us safely into the future.
Gentlemen, that sounds like the very definition of future-proofing, and I'm so grateful that you could join me to talk all about it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.